Hey everybody, this is Lossless and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to build the sugarcane module for the self-contained one chunk fully automatic farming complex. Now the complex itself is made up of 4 modules. You've got the wheat and beetroot modules, you've got the carrot and potato modules, you've got the sugarcane module, and you've got the melon and pumpkin module. And these modules can be put in any order. They don't have to be in the order I've got here. You can put them in any order you want. And today we're going to be having a look at how to build the sugarcane module. I'll put a list of everything you need for the module on screen now. So you need to come over to where you want to build it. You need an area that is 17 by 17, and you can either build it from the bedrock up or you can build it at ground level. We're going to build it on top of the 2 modules we built in previous tutorials, on top of the wheat module and the carrot module. And to start with, you need to cover the top of the module, or we need to cover the top of the module we built the last time with a layer of blocks, because we can't put rails or redstone paraphernalia on top of glowstone. And some of the rails may well need to go on top of the glowstone, so it's probably best to just build yourself just another level and cover the level with whatever block you want. Doesn't have to be quartz. Just build the outside of it with a block that you like the look of, which is the block of the current build, and the inside can be filled with dirt if you want it to be, because it won't be visible from the outside. So now we've done that, we need to put down the unloading system for the minecart rails. So behind the back of the center block you need to put yourself down a dropper, and then to the right of the dropper you need to put yourself down a block. In fact, you could put blocks around the entire area surrounding the center block, and then to the right of the dropper where the block is, you want to put a comparator coming out of that block. Then you need a repeater. Then you need to grab yourself some dust and put some dust leading back into the side of the comparator. You then need some dust there, and then a block behind the back of the dropper. So now every time something goes into the dropper, it's going to cause a pulse, which is going to fire the dropper and spit everything out, and all of that is going to go down the center of the farm. Turn that off because it'll get annoying. Now obviously we are going to pop that out later. We just need it to stay covered for the time being, because the minute we pop that out it's going to break the farm underneath unless we've got this entire area covered, because you're going to let light in there and we don't need light getting in the farm at the moment. So now we need to put in some hoppers. So to do that you need to pop out that block there, and you need to put 2 hoppers leading into the side of that dropper. So you need to crouch and put a hopper leading into there, and then put another hopper leading into that one, like that. Then you want to grab yourself a block, put it on top of the right hand hopper, that one there. So you've got your dropper, you've got your 2 hoppers, you need to put a block on top of that hopper there that's in the middle. And then you need to get yourself a comparator, put the comparator there, that pulls a signal out of that hopper. You need to run that into a block, a solid block. You need to put a redstone torch on top of that. You need to put a block on top of the torch, and then you need to put a block on top of the comparator, like that. And then you need to put a blob of dust on top of that block there. So now every time something's in that hopper, it's going to power the comparator, which is going to unpower the torch, which is going to unpower that dust. And that will stop the hopper minecart when it's full from going off on its merry way. So if we put a powered rail there now, it's going to be powered. Now as soon as something goes into that particular hopper, that rail is going to be unpowered. So now we've done that, we need to stick in some rails. So grab yourself a normal rail and put a normal rail there. It has to be a normal rail. You need a powered rail on the hopper, you need a normal rail next to it, then you need powered rails to there. Pop one of them out, replace it with a redstone block, powered rail back on again. So they're powered. So you need powered rails, non-powered rail, powered rail. Grab yourself a standard rail, normal rail, to there, and then you need to run a line of powered rails. So run a line of powered rails down to the centre till you come to where the centre line is. Pop that block out, replace it with a redstone block, and then continue putting powered rails down to here. Then you need to grab yourself some standard rails, some normal rails, do rails across to there, and then you need to do another line of powered rails. So go down to the centre again, pop the block out, replace it with a redstone block, and then you want to do powered rails down to here. Now you need to run a line of powered rails all the way across to the other side. So again, get down to the middle, pop out that block, replace it with a redstone, and then do powered rails down to there. And again, that block there will power all of these rails. Normal block, powered rails all the way down to the end again. Well, nearly all the way down to the end again. Down to there. Pop out the centre block, replace it with redstone blocks. Put the block back. Put the powered rails back on again. And then you need to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rails, 6 rails, sorry. And then you need to put another line of powered rails. So you run the powered rails down, centre block, pop it out, redstone block, down to here. Then put yourself a normal rail there and there. Pop that block out, replace it with a redstone block, powered rail there, and then a solid block. So now what's going to happen is the minecart is going to run all the way around to the end, bounce off that block and go all the way back again. So now it's time to stick in the sugar cane. So if we come around to the front, it's the front of our building, we need to put in a trough to start with that's going to hold the water. So we need to put a line of blocks running parallel with those rails, like that. And then we need to put another block there on top of those rails, a block there, a block there, and then we need to run another line of blocks all the way down the back. And then on the front we need to put some dirt. This is what the sugar cane is going to stand on. Like that. Block at the end, block at the end. So now we can fill the trough with water. Grab yourself a bucket of water. And fill away. Now we need to grab some glowstone or some sea lanterns, entirely up to you. And you need to put a temporary block there, and then cover the water with sea lanterns. Cover the water with glowstone or sea lanterns. On top of that, grab yourself a normal piston and an observer block. And on top of this you need to put a piston facing you, facing the front of the building. This is the front. Pistons facing forwards. Like that. Then you need to go round to the back and put an observer block on the top of it, facing backwards. You want the smiley face, if you've got smiley faces on yours. You want the detector part of the observer block facing the front, and you want the redstone activation part of the observer block facing the back. And you need to cover all of these pistons. Now grab yourself a block again, grab yourself your block of choice, and then put a line of blocks behind the back of your glowstone. This is going to be covered with redstone, and it's going to activate your pistons when the sugarcane reaches the observer block. And now behind the back of the observers you need to put a line of normal blocks. Like that. And then underneath, between those, on this particular block here, you need to put a line of dust. Like that. Now every time something grows above the observer, in front of the observer even, it's going to fire that piston. So I can demonstrate that with some sugarcane. Put some sugarcane down, sugarcane grows once more, bump, gets popped out. And because we're going to cover this with glass, that can only fall on the rails, and if it's on the rails it's going to get picked up by the hopper minecart underneath. So now what you need to do is grab yourself some blocks, put some blocks up along the side, line of blocks across the front, line of blocks above it, and then you need to cover the front with grey stained glass. If you want all of this to be glass, then you can. It doesn't have to be half glass with the columns at the side being out of quartz or your block of choice. And then just pillar up the sides to neaten it off. Now, before you've just completely fill in the sides, you need to go in there and you need to plant yourself some sugarcane. And then finish it off at the side by putting in some blocks. Now that's the first section of this module done. Now you need to do exactly the same behind it. So you need to get yourself some blocks, run a line of blocks down parallel with the rails, blocks up at the end, then a line of blocks behind the back to create the trough, line of dirt down the front, nice block there, nice block there. Now you can fill the trough in with water. And grab yourself your glowstone or temporary block there, glowstone on top of it, and then cover the water with glowstone. Grab yourself some pistons facing forward, i.e. the way where you need the pistons facing towards where you're going to be planting the sugarcane. Sugarcane's going there, so you need your pistons facing the sugarcane. Swing round the back and an observer on top of the piston. Exactly the same as we've just done before. Then throw down some blocks behind the back of your glowstone. Cover that with redstone. Like that. Then some solid blocks and put them behind the back of your observers. Now, with this being in the centre of the farm, you don't have to make it out of glass if you don't want to. We've made this out of glass for looks, really. We want it to look nice, so you can see him from the front. But because this is going to be in the centre of the farm and you're not really going to be able to see it unless you put some glass around the sides, which you can do that if you want to. But it doesn't have to be glass in here. It can be a solid block. So we'll just fill this now with a solid block. And as with the front, you're probably best off now throwing down some sugarcane before you block it off completely. And then fill the rest in with solid blocks. Now you haven't got to worry about letting sunlight in there because there's light at the bottom, so you don't need any more light. So we can cover the top when we've finished. Now we need to do exactly the same over this side. So once more, line of blocks parallel to the tracks, block up on top of the rail there, and then a line of blocks down the back to form the trough, block there, line of dirt above the tracks, block, fill the trough with water. You've got to be careful filling this with water, because if you make a mistake and you drop the water onto one of these blocks by accident, it's just going to run down and it's going to wash away all of your redstone. So be a little bit careful when you're throwing it, especially water by redstone and tracks isn't great anyway. So just be a little careful when you're putting water down. And you need to put yourself down a temporary block, pop it out, a line of glowstone or sea lanterns, round to the front, round to where the sugarcane is going to be growing, line of pistons, around to the back, a line of observers, plant your sugarcane, then do a column of solid blocks at the end, and then do some blocks along the front. If you wanted this to be glass, you can be. If you want to be able to see in and see the minecart going around, then you can do it. It's entirely up to you. This is all aesthetic, so if you want this to be glass or a different coloured block, again, it's entirely up to you. And then just cover the front with whatever glass block or solid block you want to cover it with. Brilliant. Now we just need to do one more module. I'll do this off camera. I don't have to do this while you're watching. But it's exactly the same as the other three we've already done. Okay, so now you've got those two modules in. We just need to stick in the redstone at the back. Now, as with the two on the other side, you need to put a block down behind the back of your glowstone. Okay, like that. Stick down some dust on all of these blocks. And then you need to put down some blocks on top of the glowstone or next behind the back of the observer. It's the same thing. You can either point at the glowstone or point at the observers and place the block. It'll put it in the same place. So now again, every time the sugarcane grows, it's going to cause the piston to fire. That's going to fall down onto the dirt, which is going to be then picked up by the minecart. Now before we do the walling up, we just need to wall it and put a roof on. Before we finish it off, we just need to stick down a minecart. So grab yourself a hopper minecart, pop it down there. Now that's going to go underneath all of these, and it's going to pick up any sugarcane that gets broken. It's going to transfer it back to the centre, and it's going to spit it out into the middle. So now it's time to wall everything off and put a ceiling on, but before you do that, don't forget to pop out that block there. Otherwise nothing's going to fall down. Then we need to just build this tower up a little bit further, because this is a centre column that runs all the way down the farm, so you need to build it up a little bit further. And then we need to put a wall around the outside. You can either make this out of solid blocks or glass, again up to you, your build. Now one thing I forgot to mention is, don't forget to stick some lighting down here. Because we're going to have flashing redstone down here, we are going to need some lighting. If we don't put lighting down here, it could cause lag. So just put yourself some lighting where the redstone is. And also we don't want mobs spawning in here either, because if they do, if they happen to stand on the track, it's going to stop the minecart. So lighting down here is absolutely vital. So apologies for not mentioning that to start with, but really put as much lighting as you can down here. You can't have too much lighting, because the last thing we need in here are mobs. and then just finish off building the wall back up again. Now once you've got all the walls on, you just need to put a ceiling over the top of it. Okay, once you've done that, don't forget to pop in a centre block into the centre again. Any old block, any old solid block. Let's use wool. And that will, because if you don't put that block in, one of the farms down there, the potato farm and the carrot farms that you've built down there, will stop working because of the light generated from this particular block. So you need to block that off to the sky, to sky access. Now hopefully, yeah, you see at the moment, because I've popped that block out, those potatoes are grown there. Yeah, they've just popped out, which is brilliant. So that farm's working again now. So it's important to pop that block back in again until you get around to building another module on top of the farm. If you want to know how to build the other modules, the wheat and potato and the carrot and the beetroot, I'll start again. The wheat and beetroot and the carrot and potato farms and the pumpkin and melon farm, check out the description below. I'll have the links to the tutorials in the description below. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, everybody. If you have, please don't forget to leave it a like, and if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future tutorials. This is Fully Off, and I'm out of here.